welcome. So I'm going to kind of shock you a little bit because a lot has changed since Oracle's changed their focus. And also, if I just step out of camera here for a second, I have quite a lot of stress balls that I'm going to give out and 3 memory sticks, those nice little BBD ones that are, what do you call these? The ones that are waterproof memory sticks. So I'll be asking questions and looking for engagement with you guys. And wandering the corridor, because I'm a wanderer and a speaker at the same time. So please tweet me up at Rory Preddy and at BBD Software, not at BBD, okay? You don't want to see what that is, okay? Okay, so a little bit about me. Got my SCJP, my Sun Certified Java Programmers in 2004. You know when the internet was still safe? It's never been safe. Started my first study group in 2006. So even when I wasn't actually working for BBD, I created a study group because it was a way for me to actually get my self-esteem up. But I studied with 150 Java developers last year. We've just currently finished an internal study group at BBD. And in December 2014, BBD obtained a Java standard and EE specialization. So when you get your certifications, your company just needs about 2 of them to actually become a Oracle or now a Jakarta EE partner. Why Certify? So there's about 10 million Java developers in the world. There's an additional 9 million C# developers. All in all, who can tell me how many developers in the entire world? How many million developers do you think?
50.
It's only about 30 to 40 million, which is weird. How is there 10 million Java developers? Because that stats actually says, do you code with a little bit of Java once a month? So it's not really 10 million. It's probably more in the line of 500, 600,000. 800,000 people have a Java certification of some sort, 30,000 new certifications, and the youngest was a 10-year-old boy from India who studied under candlelight. I think it's changed recently. There was a 7-year-old. They're very competitive, these children. Oracle.com states certifications give you either more money, a promotion, or better skills. So, of course, they're going to go with C there, because then they can just fall down into C. But in truth, it's one of the pillars of your career. So on your side, you've got the self, which is education, relevance, and experience. And on the other side, you've got your community, your engagement, you've got your mentorship, community, and culture. And certifications form part of the relevance section of your career scale. Why Certify? So any potential Java is in high demand. You can see that I wrote this like a couple of years back. Java still is in high demand. Remember that there's been such a heavy investment in Java that maybe in 20 years' time, 25 years' time, Java's still going to be in demand. Focus on your talents and mitigate your weaknesses. It's a very important thing we try to instill in developers at BBD, that you should focus on your talents, but not focus on your weaknesses. How do you not focus on your weaknesses? You need to understand them first. And how you do that is you actually test yourself consistently. Join the group initiative, so join a study group, and then sharpen your mind. And we'll go through this extensively, the 2-minute rule. How do you sharpen your mind? How do you build an IDE inside your mind? So let's look at a problem statement. And we're going to go through the 2-minute rule. Did high-level languages solve accidental complexity? Brooks. So in his book, The Mythical Man Month, he mentions high-level languages, prototyping, and did they solve the accidental complexity, meaning that software is complex accidentally? Test it. Take away your IDE. And the first thing that you'll get on some developers is they'll go, I can't breathe right now. I don't know what I'm doing. Let them code in command line. They can't. They've become so used to their IDE environment, their ecosystem, they can't code without it. So you still have immediacy, the decay and grasp of all that is going on in a complex system. You can't grasp everything that's going on. There's too many moving parts. Recency effect. Remember, the last thing's better than the first things in the middle or beginning of a time period. Basically, last few things in the middle than the first or the back and the last. Okay, so who here uses Visual Studio?
What is it? try that.
Okay, IntelliJ. Okay, who here uses Eclipse? Oh, you need a lot of stress balls. Visual Studio Code? Do you see what we're doing? We're giving stress balls to people for using tools to help them with their actual coding, though, when in truth, all you need is to create an internal IDE. You need to be able to code in your mind. And how can you do that? You do that by actually being able to force yourself to code quickly. You learn the language rules. So you learn them by rote. You learn the language rules to be able to spot the certain patterns. So you spot the patterns in the actual language, apply them against time. It's called coding under anger. You need to be able to apply the patterns of the language rules against time. Practice often, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. So how? Let's look at how. So you've got 2 minutes. You've got 2 minutes to look at a statement and actually solve it. The quick glance, 30 seconds. So the first 30 seconds, you're going to scan the actual question, see, okay, cool, what is going on there? Can I actually compile that in my mind? Do I have to work out the problem statement, or is there a easier to grasp problem? What are they trying to test? What is the novelty? Have I seen similar patterns? What is the outcome? Is it syntactically sound? Instead of having to go, okay, compile, 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 why can't we actually work out in our mind, will it compile? Now, I'm doing a lot of Python recently, and it is a very strange experience to have to actually tell an interpreter, does it work? Coming from a little squiggly Java background, it's a little bit disconcerting. Am I weak in this area? As developers, we like to actually pretend that we're godly in everything. But you need to know what areas you're weak in. I'm weak in regex. So when I see regex, I know that is not something that I can handle just without reference. So I'm going to flag that area and come back to it when I have a little bit more time, because I know that I'm weak in that area. How do I know that I'm weak in that area? Because I've done that a couple of thousand times to determine that. If I am not weak in that area, if I can also determine that I don't need to compile it or it's syntactically sound, then I go, what is the output? Then I work it out. I use decision trees and truth tables, and I work the actual problem statement out. Also, I can determine, does it throw an exception? And if I can't work that out in 90 seconds, I flag it. At the end of the actual exam or what I'm trying to do, I can go back to those areas, those to-dos. Who here uses to-dos in his code? Fix-me's? Anyone fix-me's? Yeah, you get a stress ball. A lot of people don't even know what fix-me's are. It's a high priority to do.
Triple X?
Never heard of that.
Really?
Never.
It means it works, but I'll fix it later.
Can't give you another stress ball. That's quite cool. And review. So you keep track of your time and the number of flags. You see how you can actually relate this writing an exam to your everyday coding experience. So let's look at how you can hone your abilities using certifications. So yes, certifications give you a nice career path, and they give you a nice little piece of paper on review time and everything, but there's more than that. There's an ability to actually use it to hone your abilities. Okay, so let's look at the Java certification roadmap. This has changed, and this has changed recently because of Jakarta EE. So at the top there, we've got the beginner, the associate. I can liking to be doing Java. The Java associate, it's a nice entry level, and it gives you a basic understanding of the broad language features. Once you've done that, then you're looking at the programmer, and the programmer is the magnum opus. It is the 95% of the Java standard programming and also libraries. The defunct mobile, you remember those Java applet games? Remember we all had them and everything? Now it's just, I don't even know. It's progressive web apps, I guess. You can also, at the time, go to the developer, which also has stopped. So they've deprecated that. And once you've done the programmer, you have a choice of 2 different flavors. The Java EE7 Oracle certification and the Core Spring 5 certification. We run both those at BBD. and to great success. And then also, if you don't want to do any of that, you can go dive straight into the architect certification. I've only met about 4 or 5 people who have achieved that, and that basically encompasses the entire Java spectrum except for Spring. So programmer, let's look at programmer. So let's first look at associate, which is also called programmer 1. You've got 150 minutes, 70 questions, 65% pass mark. You notice a theme in there. 150 minutes, 70 questions, looks like 2 minutes per question. That's where I got the 2-minute rule. Because most exams only give you 2 minutes for a question. So you need to be able to have that quick glance, 30 seconds, and then that 90 seconds to be able to work it out, else flag, 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 and move forward. The cost is 2,101 Rand. You can also get vouchers from Oracle that makes it a little bit cheaper. The study material, there's the Java tutorial, which I find is the best study material. There's a lot of books out there also, but they're not the best. And the koans. Anyone heard of koans here? No one. Okay, no one gets the stress ball then. So what does koans stand for? If you haven't heard of it, then you get a memory stick. Okay, so there are 3 levels of mastery in Japanese martial arts. There's kata, which is repetition on a basic level. There's kumite, which is learning and mastery of a subject, but with a timeliness. And then there is koans, which is the final level of mastery, which is doing both. So repetition and also doing it under a timely manner. So koans, if you go look up now, are available in most languages, in Java, in Ruby, in Python, in Kotlin, and they give you the ability to learn the language quickly and also all of the language features. So we use the koans extensively at BBD to teach certain concepts. They're freely available on most GitHub repos. You can even write your own. And then also, for the Java Associate, there's a nice mock exam by the guys from Enthaware. And that gives you an exam simulator, 600 questions, and the ability to actually go and practice. The Java 8, Java Basics, all the way down to a little bit of new dates and lambdas. Let's look at the programmer, or the programmer II. Very similar, number of questions, 85, 150 minutes, the 2-minute rule. And it's got a nice online study guide, which is a GitHub-driven study guide, which you can actually download for free. Mock exam and also the same cost. The objectives are a little bit more different. So we've got concurrency, JDBC, Lambda built-in function, Stream API. You can see what they're trying to do. The associate brings you and introduces you to the language concepts, and then the programmer drives home the libraries, the usage of those concepts via libraries. Expert. New, the 900 exam, or commonly known as the Java EE exam. Oracle just released this now, and it's a direct competitor against the Spring certification. You've also got 150 minutes, 70 questions, and it covers EJB, JSF, JPA, CDI, WebSockets, all in one certification. Same price, no mock exam available. You can see there, understanding Java EE architecture, using Java messaging service, JSF, WebSockets, REST, concurrency, and batch API. It is in Java EE 7, so it's kind of still relevant. And it's a direct competitor against the Spring Professional. The Spring Professional, 90 minutes, 50 questions, a little bit easier, but don't get too cocky. This is a tough exam. There are many books on this. The Spring certification is pretty popular nowadays. No mock tests and the same cost. What's in the Spring Professional? Of course, everything in Spring comes horizontally. We've got AOP, containers. You've got also JDBC, MVC, REST, boot, and testing. So they're kind of testing you on the Spring framework. Master. So this is the architect. You have to first do and sign up for one of 13 Oracle courses. Cha-ching. Do an exam. assignment, essay, and then certification. So there are going to be questions, so just absorb this for these memory sticks. The master objectives, so in the exam there, you've got all of those different features, the assignment, and then you also have to do an essay. So think of this almost as a diploma. Oracle is testing whether you can actually architect Java applications. So here's a little bit more about the exam, assignment, and essay, and there is practice guides, books, and also forums to help you get through that. List of Oracle courses for architect. Okay, so when you have to do the course, which step is it in the actual architect certification? We saw the 3 slides. Sorry? No, the actual Oracle course you have to do.
0.
Yes, okay. Okay, so you have to actually do one of these, and it's object-oriented analysis and design URL. They're about 10 grand each, so it's pretty expensive. And then you've got the added cost of the exam, essay, and assignment. Rules, booking, and writing. So you must wait, if you do book an exam, 14 days before retaking a failed exam. Registration will be on the 11th day. When you go into the exam center, you'll be given a piece of paper and a pen, and then you'll be actually asked for ID. You're not allowed to take anything into the exam centers. Where are the exam centers? There's multiple ways to do that. One is you can do it actually through Person View. You can do it via Oracle, or you can do it via TalkRT. So we find great help with TalkRT. You may not retake a past exam at any time to get a better mark. You may not retake a beta exam. They come up with beta exams often. An exam can be rescheduled at least 1 business day prior to the exam appointment. That's very dangerous, because we get guys, push it forward, push it forward, push it forward, push it forward. Procrastination. We're Joburgers, we procrastinate everything. Assignment rules. So you've got submission deadlines, and also, so you have to wait 30 days from failure if you want to do a new one. Booking, so I mentioned this. What is the company that we like to book our exams through? Yeah. I've got a few more stress balls and then 1 more memory stick. To register an exam, register and pay Person View directly. Purchase an exam voucher from Oracle. You can also get some discounts for that. Phone a provider, Bytes or TalkRT, and get them to book it. Certain exams have prerequisites. You can't write the Java 8 for Java 7. Exam vouchers have an expiry date. Most expire after 12 months. Exam vouchers with second retake or purchase from Oracle Training. Writing. So when you actually do it, closed book. What do they give you at the exam center? I've got a pen. Sorry, pen. How many free stuff do you have? Who said pen also? Yeah, they give you a pen and paper, learn the 2-minute rule, flag, flag, flag. Not all questions count. On the day, it's beautiful to watch the actual students go there and write it, because they're built from steel. They're built from steel, but it's a muscle memory. It fades. That's why it's important to rinse and repeat, do the koans. I recommend doing the koans every 3 months. Old topics can be also after the exam. Get your results from certview.oracle.com, and then print your own cert 30 minutes after writing. It's the longest 30 minutes you're ever going to wait. So demos, so I've got some nice demos. So we have used up all of your time. Here's the slides. We'll send up the video and also these links later on. And do we have any questions? Yes?
Sorry, it's going to sound like a super question, but the codes, this is something that's formally written by Oracle or somebody, or is it like people that wrote
Community-driven. Community-driven in every language and permutation that you can imagine, based on the premise that you want to actually learn the language fast enough. So let's go to the Kotlin cones. You know, our little sister company here, not company, Kotlin Coens. The Kotlin Coens, try Kotlin. I'll give you a nice example. So these are the Kotlin cones here, and they go through zooming. Can I zoom in here? So over here, named arguments. So you have to replace that to do there or an underscore, a placeholder with the actual correct answer. Think about fill in the blanks. It gives you the ability to grasp the entire ecosystem of a language without having to code. It's a big kind of problem, a stumbling block with developers, thinking that they have to be able to code in a language to understand the core concepts. So that you get with katas. Katas are coding, coding, coding. Kumite are coding under distress with timeliness. And then koans is understanding the mastery of the language on the entire ecosystem. Good answer? Yay, Rory. I get something, I get a stress ball. Yes? All multiple choice except for the architect, which was an essay and an assignment and also multiple choice. You have to understand code. So they'll give you a long kind of multi-threaded synchronized block there that you have to understand. And then what do? You use the 2-minute rule. You've seen this before. It's one of your weaknesses, it's one of your strengths, and you proceed accordingly with that formula.
And then often I think there's a bit of a trick question. They try to trick you.
Oh, there's novelties, yes. We don't call them tricks then, because they're called novelties. Every question has a novelty. I suggest learning those novelties, like for example, not closing your stream writer and then trying to actually execute the same code again. It's going to give you an exception. And that's a novelty that you should know. So they're not trying to actually catch you out, they're just trying to test whether you understand that nuance. Cool. Thanks everyone, thanks for coming.
Yay.